Hey, KB's Unemployed Show. I got a good one lined up for you today. It's my 100th day of unemployment, 100 days. And just like they did with the president, what happened during my first 100 days? I'm going to tell you all about it. Wisconsin, if you're a Badgers fan, you're not going to like the outcome of their first game. I guess they kind of tipped it off for you, pun intended. And there's something that's grinding my beans. And I got to get to the bottom of this because I just read a story about it. And it's called stab kits. I had no idea these existed, but if you don't know what they are, I'm going to tell you what they are. And I'm going to tell you why the people that are putting them out there have got a big problem. All that and more when KB's Unemployed Show starts, and it starts right now.
It's KB's Unemployed Sheet. He's unemployed and didn't know what to do, so he started a shame. Talks about stuff to kill time. He didn't know what to call it, so he called it KB's Unemployed Show.
That is right, KB's Unemployed Show. It is 100 days. And 100 days of unemployment, no end in sight. That's fine with me, though. No end in sight for unemployment. It looks like unemployment is going to stay. It is here to stay. Well, my lighting has gotten bad all of a sudden. Oh, well, you know what? I'm new at this. And you guys have come to know that I'm not putting a ton of money into this yet. But I don't know why it's so dark in here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm just rambling. 100 days in, and a lot of stuff has happened. But right now, if you are a Badgers fan, you're going to find out that you're not a very happy Badgers fan. Spoiler alert, the Badgers took the gas, losing to High Point, and I don't even know where High Point is. I have no idea. If I only had some sort of computer in front of me, I could probably find that out. But they lost to High Point University, and okay, everybody is saying, oh, it's in North Carolina. All right there in the Piedmont Triad, about 20 minutes from Greensboro and Winston-Salem. It is probably the university down there, the Carolina University around Tobacco Road, which is not known for its basketball, unlike Duke and North Carolina. But they unseated the fifth-ranked Badgers, or fifth-seeded Badgers, rather. And now here's the thing. This is what, I'm in a couple of pools, right? And I used to get into these pools all the time. I'm in a couple of them, right? It just got to be just way too much, way too annoying. And so I'm only in a couple right now. And when this happens, and when people come up, there's stuff that just drives me absolutely, excuse me, stuff that drives me absolutely insane about the tournament. And one of them, it's the way that people talk about it. And you're going to hear this now for the rest of the weekend. You're going to hear, well, there's your 12-5 right there. There is your 12-5, your 5-12, because, always a 5 upsets it, or a 12 upsets a 5. And it's a question, and it's always a question of which one is it going to be? Are there going to be more than one? And so Wisconsin is out. Now, I believe I had Wisconsin. They might have been going to the Sweet 16, if not a little bit farther. Well, they were going to be doing all right. I thought they were, playing well. They knocked off some pretty good, competition, but they couldn't handle the speed of High Point. So if you watched the game, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't watched the game yet, I apologize. But if it depends on where you're watching. If you're watching it here on Twitter, some people are watching through Twitter, some people are watching through KB's Unemployed Show website. But if you're watching through Twitter, you already know it's going to be all over there, right? You're not going to be able to miss it in your feed. So I didn't do anything to really shouldn't have done anything to upset you. But yeah, that's the one that you're going to hear over and over again. There's 512. Yeah, that's it. That is your 512. Then you're going to hear Guard's got to go. Greg Gard has got to go. He's got to go. We can't. He can't win the big one. And is that the thing? Is that it has to be? You have to win the big one to be any good. It started off. Oh, he's got all of Bo's players, and then boom, he all of a sudden he wins Big Ten titles without Bo's players. Then the cupboard's bare, and everyone transfers, and he's still winning games. So, we need to pump the brakes on a lot of that stuff. But so you're going to hear Fire Guard. Those people will be beating the doors down. You're going to hear, that's your 512. And then this is the one that really gets under my skin. And I feel bad because I kind of spit out something about it to Sue. And we were talking about the tournament. This is just a pet peeve of mine. And she used the phrase, and this phrase, it's like nails on a chalkboard. She refers to the tournament as the big dance. And it's like, it's so cringe. Who do you like in the big dance? And it just, I don't know why that annoys me so much. And if it comes from anyone, it's not just Sue, it's the phrase itself, which bothers me. There's not a lot of, I don't have a lot of problems with, stuff that Sue says. I mean, she can say whatever she wants, obviously, but I'm not going to be mad about it. But the big dance, it comes out of anyone's mouth and it drives me crazy. Oh, the big dance. And then you probably won't, well, you might hear some of it today if there's a couple more upsets like this. And I really haven't been following the score at all. My bracket's busted. Oh yeah, that busted my bracket. Oh yeah, I don't know what I used to love the tournament, and then everyone started getting into it to the point where it's like fantasy football to me. You get so deep into it, and it's fun. It's fun to go out during the day to the bars and throw back some beers in the afternoon. Now, I was really strongly considering packing up my iPhone and a tripod and a remote camera and going out to a local watering hole and just do the entire show from a bar, which it could happen again because I could just set up a little thing right on the bar with my phone and just talk to you guys. Because that's all I do now anyway. It's just basically talk. But I could do that and sit in a bar. And I just have to find out the right time to do it. I was going to do it today. That was the plan, to do it today. And things got kind of, I don't know, they got kind of mixed up. I had stuff that I had the timing just didn't work out. But tomorrow, I guarantee you that I'll be out someplace, having some lunch somewhere, watching a little hoop. It is great to just sit back and get game after game after game. For me, my favorite games, and I haven't really looked at the schedule, but my favorite games were, I always liked those late night games, the ones that started, at 9:40 and some of them may have even started at 10:10 or what have you. There's just something about that late night basketball that I like. And the opening weekend for me, of the 3 weekends of the tournament, the opening weekend is by far the best. They just take college basketball like a big freaking fire hose and just open it and just shove it down your throat and force feed you that. And I'm okay. I'm there for it. I'm okay for that. So as soon as the show is over, I don't know what the games are for this evening, but Sue and I are going out to watch a little hoop. I'm not sure where we're going to go. We will probably go to a place that we hang out quite a bit. It's not that far from our home. And that is a place that you should try sometime. And that is the pub at Blackstone Creek Golf Course in Germantown, right there in the corner of Division and I think it's Division. Yeah, Division and and Mequon Roads. Golf. It's a nice pub. I've never seen in a public golf course a pub that gets hopping. But it has become kind of a home base for me. You feel comfortable. They know what your drink is, and they know what Sue's drink is. There's about 3 places that we go, and they know exactly what the drink is, and that's we love that about places. That's what makes us feel good. We got elbows on the bar, people. Ben says sounds like a fan club meetup at a local establishment in the works. Hey, wherever. I mean, that's where I'll probably be. I'm not sure if I'll be there tonight. But yeah, I'm out. If anyone ever wants to come out and see me, just let me know. Hit it up. All you have to do is, if you're a subscriber to the YouTube channel, all you got to do is say, hey, you out anywhere? And just go to the YouTube channel and send the message, and it'll get to me. Or if you go to drewandkb.com, you can send an email to the Drew and KB show, info@drewandkb.com, and say, hey, where are you drinking? And then I will probably tell you where I'm drinking. But 100 days of unemployment. And it's like the first 100 days of a presidency. What did President Biden do in his first 100 days? What did President Trump do in his first 100 days? And then they never do anything, or, then people will say, or they won't do any of the campaign promises in the first 100 days. And, President Trump said he was going to lower prices. Jesus, give him a break, right? I mean, it's 100 days. But that excuse doesn't help. You can't use that excuse when you're unemployed with your wife. That doesn't work. You can't say, it's 100 days and you're still unemployed, and you can't say, hey, it's only been 100 days. Give me a break. That's an eternity. That is an eternity. Trying to change the entire economy of a country, I'm going to give you a little leeway on that. Slowing inflation, yeah, I'm going to give you a hall pass on that. I'm going to give you a little more time to work that through. But if when it comes to being unemployed and you're still unemployed after 100 days, and you can't drop that one on the missus, it is not going to work. So, but I'm 100 days unemployed. And what has happened? I mean, a lot has gone on in the last 100 days. Let's be honest. And I'm going to get to that in a minute. But why don't we, at this time, why don't we just get to some news? We'll just do a couple of news stories that I found and I like. Hey, got to give a shout out to our boy in Malaysia, Prathab Mundani. Picked himself up a Guinness World Record. Old Prathab did. And what it is he just got the Guinness World Record for having 42 teeth. That's exceeding the typical 32. He's got 10 extra teeth. He had a dental situation. He noticed it during a 2021 family gathering. I don't know how old he is. It does not say how old he is. But if he has to wait to get to a family gathering before he realizes he's got 10 extra teeth, he's either really, really young or Malaysian, because those guys get weird diseases all the time. They get weird stuff happening. That's where you get the guy, it's always from that part of the world when you look at those freaky medical conditions. And like, it's the guy that's the werewolf man, and his body is in the face is entirely covered in hair, where he looks like Chewbacca. That guy is you never see a picture in the news of werewolf man from Oklahoma City. Okay. He doesn't live there. It's always Southeast Asia, Pakistan, Bangladesh, India. That's where they all live. I don't know if it's medical facilities or what have you, but it just seems like they all are there. So wouldn't put it past me if a guy doesn't know that he's got 10 extra teeth, right? He could be walking around and saying, hey, what the hell? Eating faster. Maybe it's like like pistachios. Maybe he eats, but he can eat pistachios without even taking the nut shell part off, which is like the hardest shell of all nuts. Maybe it's like what's the other one that's really tough? Like walnuts. Maybe he can just pop a walnut in his mouth and crack those babies open. But 42 teeth, and I remember seeing that the Bohemian Rhapsody, and Freddie Mercury had that real dominant, pronounced overbite. And in the movie, they revealed why he had it. And he had 2 extra teeth, like back over here. There's only 2, and that stuck his mouth out that far. But I have not seen a picture of Pratap Munyadi at all. And with 10 teeth, I mean, if Freddie Mercury's teeth stuck out that far, right? If they stuck out that far, oh, there we go. I just found them. There's a picture of old Pratap. Holy cats. Let me get this. I'm going to download this and let you take a look at it. Oh, he's like a shark. There we go. That's how that is working. Let me just get this and I'll put it up here, and you can take a look. You can see what our boy Pratap looks like. And as you will notice, it is completely it is due. Okay, well, I got to do this. It is, he's got front and back. So he's got teeth like a shark. Because if he did, I mean, that would be, he'd end up having a mouth like a bass, right? It would have to be or maybe a northern pike. It would have to be that elongated, I would think, for him to be able to house 10 teeth, if you will. Let's see, where's our boy? Okay, we'll put her up there. So congratulations, world record holder, for having the most teeth. There, you can see him. Boom. So he's got that double row back there. And how do you not know that? So if, or do you apply for the record? I think, I don't know. I mean, I got to look at that Guinness Book of World Records. I've accomplished nothing in my life, really, when you get right down to it. And if I could knock off one of those, why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I try and do that? Also coming at us is that there is a routine bond hearing. I love this. I love it when this is almost a what color is the sky on your planet, although the stab kit thing is going to be my what color is the sky on your planet. But this was in South Carolina. There was a 33-year-old man by the name of Patrick Alexander, and he had been arrested, and he was appearing in front of the judge on a trespassing charge. So arrested for trespassing, appearing in front of the judge. And what he did was the judge gave him a $250 bond and he could get out. Got his belongings back. He pulled out a big wad of cash, peeled off 3 hundies, man, 3 Krispies. Boom, right there. Told the judge to keep the change. The judge said he can't accept tips, but he noticed the bills were a little bit odd. So he took a closer look at them, $100 bills. Then he flipped them over. And when he flipped them over, he found they had Chinese letters printed all over them. And the cop took a pen. Sure enough, fake. So instead of walking out of jail, Mr. Alexander, who had just gotten released on $250 bond, tried to pass fake Chinese $100 American bills and is back in jail for forgery. Nice going. Way to go, dude. Here's another one. This Duggar family, these guys are some sick bastards, right? Now, the Duggars, we've known, who are the Duggars and why do they have 19 kids? And why are they all have names starting with J? Okay. right there is a red flag. See, that's the problem, is that everyone is so worried about other people and being called, insensitive or anything like that, that we just gloss over these red flags. All right. I get someone who moves into my neighborhood and they got 19 freaking kids. 19. I mean, this poor Mrs. Duggar hasn't been off her back in God knows how long. I mean, at some point as a female, you got to be going, enough already. Enough. Okay. I mean, I'd be buying, I mean, I'm not a woman, but I mean, I'd be buying the old man a sex doll. I'd be like doing, whatever. I mean, hey, here, boom, massage parlor. Just don't touch me. Okay. I got people that are falling out of me left and right. Got 19 of them. Someone moves in down the street to me with 19 kids, all nine, and they're all named starting with a J. That's a big freaking red flag. I am keeping my eye on them. I may not say anything bad about them. I would not pass judgment right away. I would not want to say they're weird or they're this type or they're that, or to criticize them. And you let people live the way they live. However, you're an idiot if you don't keep an eye on them, because that ain't right. It's not normal. You don't got to keep an eye on them. Those guys on there, I think they got 19 people. Got to keep an eye on. We had in our subdivision not too long ago, several years back, we were pretty well convinced that 2 houses down from us, there was 3 families living there at the same time. We're pretty sure elements from 3 families were moved in there. However, we didn't say anything because they kept their yard. They were out there. That's a suburban way. They could have been doing anything they want, but you know what? They mowed regularly. They kept everything trimmed. They put mulch down. I mean, that's all we care about in the subdivision, right? That's all we care about in the suburbs. Do you keep your yard up? If you keep your yard up, you can do whatever you want. We had neighbors that were right next door to us a couple before. They were dealing crack out of the house. Okay, but the yard looked nice. Sure, at different times of the day. Sometimes middle of the afternoon on weekdays, people would pull in the driveway, walk up to the garage. Okay, they pull in the driveway, walk up to the garage, and then the next thing you know, boom, they'd leave. What were they there for? We don't know. Guy would walk out with a bag, hand it to him, he'd get another bag, go back in. Found out they were probably dealing drugs out of selling crack out of the house. You know what? But their yard looked great. So we didn't care. But the Duggars, you got 19 of them living under one roof, and they all start with J. And my favorite is Ginger, Jinger. That's not Ginger, that's Jinger. You named your kid Jinger. But anyway, the Duggars, if you recall, his older brother Josh Duggar is now doing 12 years for sex abuse charges, child sex abuse. Okay, so what the older brother was arrested for, he's doing 12 and a half years in prison on one count of receiving and having images portraying child abuse. They had the TLC show, who are the Duggars and why do they have 19 kids and why do we even care? I don't remember what it was. But they had 19 kids and counting. So he had downloaded these sexual abuse images and he was arrested for that. But, okay. He later on was accused in 2015, and this is why they canceled the show. He was accused of molesting 4 of his sisters and a babysitter. But then his parents said, well, he confessed and apologized. All right. I don't think that's going far enough, but they got 19 kids. Their view of the world is entirely different. Well, anyway, his younger brother now, Joseph, is charged with lewd and lascivious behavior toward a child under 12. He was arrested in Arkansas. He's waiting extradition to Florida. It was a 14-year-old girl he said he had come in contact with him several times during a family trip to Panama City Beach when she was 9. This stuff is absolutely disgusting, unacceptable. So the girl's father had confronted him about the abuse, and the guy admitted to it. The Duggar admitted to it. And so it's like, wow, admitted to the girl's dad. Okay, that's going to bust you. Maybe they wanted to get busted, but you got to get these people off the streets if they are Duggars. And now the people in the neighborhood are going, oh, what happened to those other 3 Duggars? I thought there were 19. Where do they go? Did someone move out? But like I said, you got to keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on these Duggars. All right. If you got 19 and they're all named Jay, you keep an eye on them. If you get 19, they're all named Jay, and one of them, or their names begin with J, and one of them gets busted for child porn, okay, pretty good odds there's something sketchy going on there. And you got to keep your eye on the other Duggars. And I'm glad they did. I'm glad they did keep their eye on the other Duggars. So 100 days. It's been 100 days. Let's get to this. It's been 100 days. I have done nothing in 100 days. Miss Sue makes me, she makes me very aware of that on a daily basis, that I have done nothing. Oh, shit, I forgot to take mouth guy off. Sorry about that, guys. I was flipping around looking at the story. And I had some of my best facial expressions at that point. Anyway, sorry about not taking mouth guy off. And maybe I lost some viewers because of that. I don't care. That's still pretty freaky looking at those teeth, though. All right, so 100 days. It's been 100 days since I've been out of a gig. And then I was looking at what has been going on in 100 days. Now, I can tell you that, what hasn't been going on is me putting together a resume, because I'm just not going back into my regular field of my endeavor. Just not happening. Because the bottom line, what it boils down to is I am way too old, and there is no way on God's green earth that I can function in any environment where I have a high level of expertise, which I would like. And I'm not talking about radio. I'm talking about my previous career, where I do have a lot of experience. There is no way on God's green earth I can work with somebody who is 35 telling me what to do. And that's exactly what would happen. And it's a lot of it is I can't come to grips with being an old guy. So, I'm old. I'm past my prime, and you know that you're going to be, hey, that's the old guy coming in. Oh, who's the old guy? And your previous experience, none of that matters. None of that matters. You just get looked at like the president of the company's doing you a favor and carrying you along. But Sue goes, well, why don't you go back into that? I said, because my next stop would be prison. Because someone would probably say something, and I'd, beat the hell out of them just for being stupid. And Kenneth is getting antsy. I can tell he's whimpering and he's walking around, but he was sleeping nicely. He's not going to eat. It's only 3:30. So anyway, 100 days, and a lot has been going on for 100 days, and all the things that have been going on for 100 days. You look back, so we had Christmas, right? Packers out of the playoffs. Get Christmas, you go into January, you got New Year's Eve. Get into January, and so I did a whole list, and I found these things, and I went, that happened? I don't really care. For example, when I said, give me a list of top events since December 9th, and what came up was the Australian Open. Don't care. Didn't know. It came and went. Have no idea about that. Have literally no idea. But for those of you who are tennis fans, hope it turned out okay. Kenneth, will you knock it off? I got Kenneth over there whimpering. Just hold on. What I may have to do here. Yes, James, there's only one at the end of the year. Okay, I got to do this. I will be right back. And if you can just hold on here, what we're going to do is we're just going to, I'm going to be right back. And hopefully this will continue to roll and loop. So I'm going to see what Kenneth is up to, and I will be right back. Okay, we're back, and yeah, Kenneth was just whimpering because the door was closed or something. So 100 days. What happens in 100 days? Okay, so during the 100 days, we start off an Australian Open. Who cares? Super Bowl. Does anyone remember who won the Super Bowl? Think about that. That was only like 40 days ago, if that. And nobody remembers. Can you tell me who played in the Super Bowl? I mean, if you think about that, who played in it? Who won it? Nobody can really who can really talk about it or knows. We forget about this stuff. It comes and goes so fast, right? And it was the Seattle defeated New England, but no one's going to remember that. So you had that. Then all of a sudden, here's another one. United States leaves the World Health Organization. So we dropped out of that. I thought we already did. Okay. No idea there. January 20, late in January, the government shut down. Did you know that? Government is still shut down, or parts of it are. Here's the thing. Someone's got to tell these guys, you know what? You've used some of these tactics so many times that they don't have any impact on us anymore. Okay, we're going to shut the government down. All right, if you don't do it, we're going to shut the government down. Oh, if if the president doesn't do this, the government's going to shut down. And, you don't want a government shutdown. And you don't want right now with all the BS that they are and how effed up the government is. Yeah, I want to make it completely shut down. Thank you. If I could, yeah, shut the whole thing down. I don't think that's a good idea, but I would. Then we had the State of the Union address where everyone behaved like petulant little children. So yet another reason. Oh yeah, and in the middle of that, Nancy Guthrie was abducted. Um, and like I said, the world is spinning so fast. How about this? They had, Somali fraud. Do we even remember the Somali fraud going on? Oh yeah, we forgot about all that. Yeah, that was going on. Why? Because then they, burned Minneapolis down, basically, and all the ICE protests. So there's a great movie called Wag the Dog about what the government does, and um, they will create a distraction or they will do something different to take your mind off of what they're really doing. And I think it's like happening daily now with all the bullshit that's going on, right? So you had all this Somali fraud. Next thing you know, oh, ICE is going to move in. We're going to have the protests. No one's talking about the Somali fraud. And then no one's talking about Nancy Guthrie anymore. And so then as I was looking, the Somali thing is kind of interesting in the sense that when you take a look at the comparison of and you can get into statistics, and I'm not going to get into statistics of whether there's fraud or not. Okay, I believe in a concept known as Occam's razor, which is sometimes the most logical explanation for something, or the simplest explanation for something is the correct explanation. So, and people start talking about the whole thing. I'm not saying there is or there isn't, but you got to ask questions. And this is where people don't think critically. Minneapolis, St. Paul, in that area has the highest number of Somali immigrants in the United States, and that's in percentage of the city and numbers. So that doesn't mean they all commit fraud, not at all. And I'm not saying they do, but I like looking at information, and it's stuff that makes you go, huh. So they're saying all this fraud is going on. I'm not saying whether it is or it isn't. And yeah, video can be doctored and what have you. But here's the question that I have, and it's a very practical one. If everybody is moving out of Somalia to come to the United States, why? Okay. And people go, oh, they have a terrible country. It's horrible. Great. I get it. You got to get out of that country. I'm going to give you that. It's a terrible country. Mogadishu and all that. Lord knows we had our problems there. But when they come to the United States, we don't ask the easy questions. Of all places, we're a big country with multiple climates. But just to give you some sort of an idea, I looked up the average monthly temperature in Mogadishu. And going down January to December, the average monthly temperature is 86, 88, 90, 92, 97, 103, 106, 103, 99, 93, 89, 86. Okay, it's warm. And I guarantee you that that period from May through August and into September is brutal. 100 degrees. Yeah, it's absolutely terrible. But you're used to warm weather. And then you compare that to where did we land? Oh, yeah, we decided we're going to go to the United States. But we're going to Minneapolis, where the temperature averages 24, 29, 42, 58, 70, 79, 83, 81, 72, 59, 43, 28. In some of those instances, let's start with January. It's pretty much across the board here, a 60-degree drop in temperature. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything bad going on. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't welcome these people into the country. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is, why are you coming to the country and choosing to live in an area that is 60 degrees colder than the area you came from? It makes no sense. That's Occam's razor. The easiest explanation is sometimes the simplest. And if you take a look at the populations, there's only, everyone is, Columbus, Ohio, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Washington, Seattle. That's not desert climate. It's not warm. I mean, if I'm going to move because I don't like it being hot, I'll drop it 10 to 15 degrees. I'm not dropping it 60. Right? And so I'm not going from here to Thunder Bay, Ontario if I'm going to relocate. I'm definitely going somewhere warmer. Hey, and don't get me wrong, some people like to get out of the heat, but to 60 degrees, all I'm saying is that you just look at things and go, why would you do this? It's just stuff that makes you ask why. Okay? It's like the Duggars, right? That's what it is. You got 19 people living, 19 kids, all whose first names start with the letter J, living in one house. You keep an eye on them. You don't make any accusations. You don't blame them for anything, but you keep an eye on them. That's what I would be doing. I'd be keeping an eye on. James says my next goal should be 1,000 days unemployed. Hey, don't worry. I think that's going to be an easy one to hit. I think I finally got Sue convinced that we got to shut it down, because it boils down to this. It's like, we worked hard our entire life. We saved hard, and this is the time that we save for to not do anything. Just because we feel like we can do a lot doesn't mean we have to. It could be, just because I'm still capable doesn't mean I have to. So there you go. So there we got the situation with the Somalians, right? And that's all I'm saying is you just keep an eye. Then we had the Winter Olympics. So we got the Olympics. So that deflected our attention. And the U.S. won the hockey gold medal. But even though the U.S. won the hockey gold medal, people had to raise a big stink about that, because I'll have to invite the women's team. It's like, Jesus Christ, can't we ever just enjoy something without having to bitch about it? And the answer is no. And then, okay, so we got that going. And then they killed the Mexican drug cartel boss, El Mencho. So then he gets killed, and Puerto Vallarta goes up in flames. All right. And then, but our concern about that lasted about, I don't know, 40 minutes, maybe. And it's like, oh, okay, whatever. We don't care about that. About 40 minutes. Yeah. All right. We got good. Got a drug guy. Oh yeah. They, then raid went into Venezuela and pulled out the Venezuelan president. Boy, that happened. But we kind of forgot about that. It's like, all right, no one in the news is going, hey, what are you doing with this guy? No one's calling anybody out. It's like, yeah, he's been locked up there for how long? What are you doing with him? What's your next steps? They don't, they just go on to the next thing, the next set of jingly keys. I'd be going back and asking, it's like, hell, you went into Venezuela to get this cat. What are you doing with him? Never asked the follow-up. But here's the thing. Then they start a war. Okay, so now we got a war going. Right? So now we got a war going. I don't know why the hell or what the hell, or I don't even care. I don't even know what's freaking going on with that, because I've gotten to the point where it's like the old Ronald Reagan joke line from when he was in the White House, and he had a hot mic before one of his weekly fireside chats or whatever, and he was doing a mic test, and he said something about bombing, wake me when the bombing starts, or we're going to start bombing Russia in X amount of stupid idea to say. But that's kind of like okay, so I'm kind of like wake me when I have to do something, because otherwise I'm just not going to pay attention to it. Does that make me a bad person? No. Does that make me someone who doesn't care? Yeah, it probably does. But you know what? I got other things to worry about. Um, I can't change it. Not going to change it. It's a nightmare. Um, we are at the mercy of the people in Washington who are placed there by, not by us. I mean, because if you think about it, if you only get like 40% of the country to come out and vote and somebody wins with 50% of the vote, that means only 20% of the country wants whoever's in office. That's a good indicator of, do you have the qualified people that you want on your school board? If you think about that, because those school board elections always happen on days when you forget there's an election. And it's like, oh yeah, I should probably gone about just for school board. Well, that's how you end up with nut jobs on the school board, because they might have you get someone who's shaping the future of your children in an educational setting. And basically what they did was they got 823 people to vote for them, because nobody goes out and votes. I always vote. I always do, because I've always believed if I don't vote, if I don't exercise my right, if I don't vote, I can't bitch. And I think that's fair. Yeah, so then we got a war. And in the meantime, think about this. If you take it down, so all this stuff has happened, right? At some point, they moved this stuff to top of mind, and the news says, watch this. Oh, this is important. I don't even know what's important anymore. But who I feel bad for is that stuff that was of great magnitude, because it falls out of that news cycle. All of a sudden, we don't care about it anymore, and we should. And I think that I could honestly see something like this happening. Because there's been this deluge of other things to distract our attention. I can honestly see someone walking up to, Savannah Guthrie and saying, hey, did you find your mom yet? How's that coming? Right? It's like the utmost urgency, but there's been so much more. 5 weeks ago, it was like everybody was on the edge of their seat. Oh my God, what are we going to do? We got to find Nancy Guthrie, squirrel. Right? And now it'd be, hey, how's your mom doing? Is she okay? I mean, what's the latest on that? Right? So all of a sudden it falls off the radar, which is so unfortunate, because those things are incredibly important. But basically what I'm saying, I guess, is don't believe anything that media is trying to tell you, because they're just spinning a story. And that's on either side. So that's what's happening for 100 days. But here's the other thing that happened in the 100 days. And when I heard this, I was like, I don't even know what that is. And when I heard what it was, I was like, are you effing kidding me? This defies all logic in the world. It doesn't surprise me that Chicago is ramping up its efforts. But it's happened in London recently. Oh, yeah. The other thing is now Cesar Chavez is a pedophile. So that's going to mess up a lot of people's T-shirt drawers. What happens on that side? I mean, there's going to be a lot of street signs that are going to have to come down. What do you do with that? How do they square that circle? Huh. That'll be an interesting one to come back and watch, right? Because they probably changed the name of the street that is Cesar Chavez Drive from the name of a street that was something that they didn't like, because that guy was a scumbag. Now, what do you do? But anyway, so that was recently. But now the last two, and I saw this in London, and Chicago has stepped up in this area. I don't even know what these are. When I read the story, I'm like, okay. The school children and youth advocates in London are calling for deep stab kits to be placed at bus stations And the assembly passed a motion urging bleed kit, deep stab kit rollouts throughout their bus network. And Chicago then said, oh, yeah, we are stepping up our efforts, and they're putting 550 bleed kits in public buildings. And they started in mid-March of 2026. And they have a bunch in, and they're going to step it up. And now Missouri has passed a law saying that you have to put deep stab kits and bleed kits in public schools. Okay. Where's the problem with this? Because I saw this the other day, and I fully appreciate why it's important. Okay, but this is, you're putting the Band-Aid on the wrong problem. And I fully understand that you want to save lives. I was walking across campus at UWM, and I saw a sign that I never thought I'd see in a million years. And it was come to this informational session on how to administer Narcan. Wow. Interesting, to say the least. I get it. But it's like putting a bleed kit in a school isn't like a defibrillator, right? If someone has an underlying heart condition, and you need a defibrillator to save their life, it's not like anything necessarily bad happened before that caused their heart to stop. If you're putting a deep stab wound kit somewhere on a bus, it begs the question, why, for starters, which I'm going, this is not the problem. There's an old Jerry Seinfeld joke where he says, talks about laundry detergents, and he says, hey, laundry detergents, he goes, I'm watching a commercial on this laundry detergent, right? They said, hey, we get blood stains out, right? And yeah, Jesse Jackson died. That's right, he did. And there's another one. I'm going to touch on that too, David. I didn't know they had to pull the whole thing. But if he says, yeah, this laundry detergent, because I'm washing the laundry detergent, it gets blood stains out. But the way he looks at it, and it's the way you have to look at this, he says, hey, if you have blood stains on your clothes, I don't think laundry is your biggest issue. And he's right. If you got blood stains, laundry isn't the problem. How to get them out. It's how did they get in there in the first place? And that's the thing, is I'm looking at this going, okay, what has it gotten to? And what is the rationale of someone who puts these on there? Yes, I understand completely. You don't want people to die. And it's in the event that it happens, that you want to have that there. Now, first of all, I don't even know what's in a deep stab kit. I think there's, I was looking at, there's like adhesive or, gauze and a tourniquet and stuff like that. Okay. Fine. But doesn't it beg the question, why do we have to do it in the first place? The logic, this gets down to the logic. There is none. You see no plans for anyone to put a task force together to figure out why there's so many stabbings on the London trains, or why there's so many stabbings in Chicago. And I love how they always say, London doesn't have guns. They don't have gun crimes. Yeah, well, they got stab kits, for Christ's sake. Okay, that's not good. But no one ever says, why do we have to put stab kits on there? I know why you have to put stab kits on there, but you shouldn't have to get to the point where you got to put stab kits on a train. What do you, I could just see like all these scenarios, and these are all common sense scenarios too. And when you have no one ever asks the common sense questions. No one ever breaks it down to its simplest form. And when you break something down to its simplest form, you can realize immediately how fucking stupid it is. And in this situation, okay, this would be the rationale of two parents, two moms, let's say, two moms, two dads, I don't care. And they both have kids. And one lets them go to a concert, let's say, where they have to take a train, and that now has stab kids. And the other parent says, hey, the kid's going, I want to go see so-and-so and so-and-so. I want to go to the concert. Well, who's driving? No, we're just going to take the train. Over my dead body, you're taking the train. No, you are not taking the train. Why? Because the train needs a stab kit. I don't want my kids on anything that need stab kits. I do want them in gyms that have defibrillators because I don't know if they got a heart issue, but I don't want them on trains with stab kits. If you need a stab kit, bad things happen there that you have to outfit it with a stab kit. No other way around it. So you got the mom, and they would probably be sitting there going, oh, you let Tommy go? Well, Jimmy wanted to go, and I wouldn't let Jimmy because I did not want him riding the train down there. And then the other mom would go, well, Johnny took the train. I don't know what the problem is with the train. They've got a stab kit on there now. See, that mom has totally fucking missed it. It's like, no, that doesn't make it okay that there's the stab kit. That does not make that okay. Fix the freaking problem. And the problem is people are getting stabbed in public buildings and, all of these things that you need to have that at the handy like that. But the problem is no one thinks that way anymore. It's like, ooh, all they do is they come up with these things that, well, I'm sure the stab kits are probably $48,000 each. And they're made out of stuff that you could pick up at a Walgreens or a CVS for $42. But this whole stab kit thing, I'm like, what have we come to? Where have we gotten that we have to have stab kits on public transportation? I don't like riding. I mean, when I was living in Chicago, I rode the bus all the time. I didn't even have a car down there. They have good public transportation. You ride the bus, you ride the train to get anywhere you want. Loved it. I came back to Milwaukee and I had to work downtown. I go, I'll just ride the bus downtown someday, save a little money. It was the worst freaking ride of my life because they don't know how to run public transportation in this city. Luckily, that they probably, since no one uses them, we probably don't have to have stab kits. That's like the biggest money suck I've ever seen in my life. But I'm just saying, note to parents out there, note to people out there, tell your kids, tell your grandkids, all of that. If you got someone who's moving on, what I'm saying is you got someone who moves into your subdivision down the way, they've got 19 kids and their first names all start with the same letter, keep a fucking eye on them. Keep an eye on them. They're trouble. It may not seem like it, but there's something happening there, right? There is something going on. That is one of those things. And the other one definitely that I think you have to look at is if you are getting on any type of public transportation or going anywhere and you see the necessity for a stab kit, find another way to go. That's all I'm saying. I'm not riding on something that has a stab kit. You can call me every name in the book. You could say that I'm insensitive. You could say that I'm racist. You could say that I'm this or that. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm just being precautionary. Okay. I'm not going to ride on anything that requires a stab kit. And that's not a character flaw. As a matter of fact, that's a sign of intelligence. That's all I'm saying. So, hey, next week I got good news for you. I got really good news for you. Maybe you might think it's good news. Next week, Piper the News Girl is going to be joining us, I think, for all of the shows. And she is so much fun. I like Piper the News Girl. And, you know, she wants to learn how to do stuff. So what better way to learn how to do things without how to do things without thing just popped up. Without having any money on the line or any risk involved. So just giving the young people a chance. But before we go, as I like to do, and I'm going to leave you with one, it's Kenneth's quote of the day.
It's Kenneth's quote, it's Kenneth's quote, it's Kenneth's quote of the day. It's Kenneth's quote, it's Kenneth's quote, it's Kenneth's quote of the day.
And Kenneth's quote of the day, I think, is very germane to the discussion that we've had today. And it's quite simple. And Kenneth is leaving you with this as you head into the weekend. Watch your NCAA games. Stay away from riding any public transportation that has stab kits. Just don't stab people. Just don't stab people.
It's Kenneth's quote, it's Kenneth's quote, it's Kenneth's quote of the day.
And that is it for this episode of KB's Unemployed Show. I'll be back next week with News Girl Piper, and we're going to have some fun. I got some guests. I got a real good guest lined up as we get to Masters Week, and I don't give a rat's ass if it's sports. It's the Masters, and I'm going to talk about it. But I do have a PGA 5-time tour winner. We're going to talk Masters, and we're going to have some fun. So until then, as I always like to say, make good choices.
And that's it for this episode of KB's Unemployed Show. If you want to follow me on my unemployed journey, just subscribe to my channel below or dive into one of the playlists for all my unemployed action.